like this. Everything's so close to me, and I can just like relax and
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. I wanted to. I don't know. I kind of want to add some more stuff to make it zen, but I also like the night show feel too.
Yeah.
Because before, we had vines everywhere, and then everyone's like, "Oh, it looks like the Two Ferns show." Have you heard of that?
No.
Oh, okay. It was like some talk show, and then when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, it does look like that. I don't want to be compared to another show."
Mm-hmm.
I try to make it like it's unique but simple. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like the flamingo and the palm tree.
Thank you, courtesy of Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yeah. They have a lot of stuff like that. Michael's too. I was at Michael's the other day, working on a project that's kind of secret. It's a gift from my friend, and so I was walking through, and I have this nook in my kitchen, and it's like wood, and it looks like a diner booth almost.
Ooh.
But on the beach. And so I was like, oh, I need some cushions for it, and I got like $300 worth of Michael's cushions.
Gee.
I know. It's like, oh, I can't walk into these stores.
Yeah. I know, right?
To buy everything.
Yeah. Too bad Hobby Lobby's kind of like closing everywhere. Plus they had that, that controversy. But because Joann's and Michael's, yeah, those are the only three major craft stores. But I like how Hobby Lobby is set up. Like the kiosks, it's like its own theme. Michael's isn't like that.
Michael's is a little weird. I don't like Michael's as much as Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
And I don't like Joann's that much at all, but that's because I was introduced to Joann's like 2 years ago.
Joann's is like the Walmart of craft stores to me.
That's true. It's very true.
Hobby Lobby is a Target.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then...
Interesting.
What's the other store? Michael's. What would Michael's be?
H-E-B? I don't know.
Yeah. It's a good comparison. I just thought of this. Well, before we talk about random stuff, I should formally introduce you. Today on the show we have R&B singer. Or would you classify your...
You can say whatever you want for now. There's only one song out, so...
On repeat?
Yeah.
I've listened to it. It's
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
I like the album cover. Is that you just sitting at a coffee shop?
It's me sitting at a really cool bar, Small Victory.
Ooh.
Have you ever heard of it?
No, is it here?
Yes, it is. It's one of the speakeasies in downtown Austin.
Oh, where?
It's an unmarked door above, like next to a parking garage across from the Driscoll on like 7th and Congress.
Oh, okay. I know what that is. I was like, wow, I only have seen that one speakeasy on Congress. It's a different one, right?
Yeah, this one is an unmarked door, and its name is Small Victory. There's one on Congress.
Right.
On Congress, I think it's called like Speakeasy
That's
or something.
what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
I think it's a dumb name for a
Yeah.
speakeasy. It's like, hey, cat, get over here.
Right.
It's a cat.
Cool. When did you record that song?
I recorded it with one of your previous guests, Born Soul.
Yeah.
In the fall, when everybody starts to get sad.
Yeah. This was last fall?
Last fall.
Okay. And this is your first song you've put out?
I'm going to say my first official song, yes.
Yeah. Because I saw you also had an acoustic performance. Volatile?
Yeah, Volatile. So that that song was one of the first songs that I released, but it was like back when I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew I wanted to do music professionally, but when you get started with something, sometimes you just become obsessed with making sure it's perfect the first time, and I found that I was getting caught up in that. So I was like, I just need to release something to get the practice and to break the ice. So that was what Volatile was, along with another song.
And you wrote those songs. You write all your songs, I'm assuming.
Yes, I do. Those songs I've written with producers, so like Born Soul, Chance Carpenter was a producer on one of them, and Eli Arbor, who's an Austin-based artist. as well. But now I am doing writing with more instrumentalists. So I have a bassist, and then I do have a few songs where I've written and composed them entirely. So just growing on that path.
That's awesome. Good for you. So how did you come up with your artist name, Saint?
So yeah, Saint. Oh, that's it's like a multifaceted question. So I wanted to be named something that was gender neutral. It was really important to me. I can't really give like a real reason why, but it's just something that fit my soul a little bit better. Would be a name that's gender neutral. And then I wanted something that would express a full part of myself, a name that would express most parts of me. So I do have like a very spiritual aspect to myself. And so saint is a word that has like religious connotations. And then also the thing that drives me the most as a person is service. And so I really, really appreciate the service-based imagery of saint. You know, like saints are people who walk this earth in service of others. And I find that very compelling. And then some of my favorite artists at the time I was trying to name myself came out with a lot of saint-based songs using like the imagery of the saint. For example, Kanye West with his album The Life of Pablo, and his last song is Saint Pablo. He has a child called Saint as well. And Travis Scott incorporating the imagery into his music, and so all of those things kind of coalesced, and I was like, Saint is the name. And then I looked out there and there were tons of other artists called Saint, and so I had to be Saint something, and I was like, I don't want people to think saint is like a ST dot, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like the saint of something.
Right.
But saint is like my name, so I just tapped my last name on it. And that's, my last name is Spicer, and it's really important to me because of my dad's side of the family, where the name comes from, and that connection to them, and my dad is my most important person in my life. So.
Oh, that's so sweet. I like that. I'm glad you picked that name. Now it makes it unique to you. And
yeah.
That's awesome. And so you became Saint when you started doing music. How long ago?
I would say 2017 was when I made the change, I think.
From dance? Or or you could take a drink, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I feel weird because I have like a thing in my throat, but that's okay.
No.
In college, I was doing a lot of different art forms, and I did perform a little bit because I knew since I was like a small child that I wanted to do art professionally, and I wanted to be a singer. But various things were preventing me from doing that because you're a child, you don't have a lot of agency over what you do. And so from the moment I turned 18, I started auditioning for like Disney and stuff like that. And I would hit barriers every single time. Like, I didn't have money to pay the agent or whatever. Those things. And then when I got into Stanford and I was going to college full-time, I had a lot of resources there. There were student performers, and I was like, wow, that's like an option. So I did that, and I performed at Stanford venues. And by the time it was my senior year, I had worked at Warner Brothers Records as like a Stanford intern there. Really, really learned the music industry really well. Worked on some projects there with some of the artists like Party Next Door, BB Rexa, Dua Lipa. Working on marketing projects for them. And then also Mac Miller. This was the time Mac Miller did his Divine Feminine release. And then moved back to Stanford for my final senior year, and that summer I had worked with another one of the interns, Charles Calvé, who also goes to Stanford, on a song, and then he opened for Zed at the Stanford Stadium. So we were the first students to ever perform at the Stanford Stadium, and we opened for Zed and Broods. So that was kind of like the culmination.
Wow.
Of that was when I was like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. Like, you get in the green room and they like give you stuff, and you get to do the sound check, and you get to hear it in an empty stadium, and then people come, and that's it, you know. And I oh my god, to get paid for that, I would be like, yes. Yes.
That's amazing. Wow, it sounds like you have connections then.
I do have connections, but I just don't. I have a pretty good internal sense of timing, and now is not the time.
Yeah. So you started writing in 2017 too? Or like...
So this is really embarrassing. I used to be a part of a rap group called...
Why is that embarrassing?
Well, it's just embarrassing because the work that I did back then is like so far from where I am now.
Really?
But I used to go by the name Jessica Ellen with 2 N's. And it was just my first and middle name. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I shortened it to Jess. But there's some songs out there from that time that I was writing and rapping and all sorts of stuff.
How long did that last?
2 years, I think. Not that long, or maybe like a year. But those performances were really fun too, because I'm a huge Nicki Minaj fan and like grew up on that. So we did. I remember there was a write-up in the Stanford Daily paper about our performance and like how we all rapped "Monster" by Kanye West and Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z, Rick Ross.
Wow, I have to see that.
Oh,
is it somewhere?
The newspaper article or the
performance? Like
no.
Okay.
It was just like it's like 2 a.m. at like this really crowded college like frat house. And then it was me in like a leotard, and like there's a mannequin there, and my friend Tyler's there rapping with me. It's just really like late at night.
That's so cool though. I got to see you rap. Actually, I saw in your acoustic performance you did a little bit of rapping in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you don't like the group that you were in?
No, I love them.
Okay.
They're my family. It's just family goes through growing phases, and right now we've grown apart, but I think that my hope is that if there is desire to grow together, it will be around the same thing that we came together for, which is music. And I think one of us really needs to get sort of a promotion in the music game before there's like incentive for us to come together in that way again. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that I can be that incentive for us, but we'll see.
Nice. What was the name of the group? Or you only went by Jess Ellen?
Jessica Ellen, but the name of the group was The Outsiders. And they have like mixtapes on Spotify. They're really, really good, really, really amazing artists, especially, you know, Eli Arbor is the rapper that's based here. His music is really incredible, and he does have one song on Spotify, Last Train to Toronto. And Tyler Eagle Babel Brooks, he's on SoundCloud as well, and I think you can find him on Pandora. His music has been accepted there. He's a classically trained jazz pianist, like amazing songwriter. Understanding of rhythm is just top notch, and the work that he creates is just absolutely stunning as a rapper. He's one of the best rappers that I know. So you got the storytelling aspect and then the talent aspect with those two people, Eli and Tyler, and then a lot of producers and a lot of just friendship and camaraderie.
Wow, that's awesome. Sounds like you've worked with great people that inspire you.
Yes. So thankful.
So do you play any instruments as well when you write your music, or?
So I used to play a lot of instruments. I like dabbled in a lot of instruments when I was in middle school. I think I played the flute for a few years, but the problem with all of those instruments is the instruments that they try to teach you, you know, in middle school, is that they are all like basically metal on your face, and I'm very, very allergic to all metals except for like titanium. And so I actually had like a crusty patch around my lips, like a rash from like a permanent rash from playing those instruments. So I stopped, and I just was so turned off of it. But now I'm relearning music, and I'm learning to play bass and piano. So
cool.
Instruments that don't irritate my skin. But so before I didn't play any instruments when I wrote music, but now I do.
Yeah. Because I saw that on your Instagram story. Sorry, I was kind of creeping on you.
Oh, that's okay.
Like you were trying to write a song about a monster.
Mm-hmm.
So is that like usually your creative process? Is you'll have like a melody that you'll just keep singing and then let it go from there?
Yeah, that's exactly it. For example, this song that I wrote about, like one time I was cruising through Instagram and I was so surprised because when I pick up Instagram, I'm looking for inspiration usually.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was looking at imagery of Marilyn Monroe and just how vapid they portrayed her to be in the movies versus how she was in real life, which just really stuck out to me. And I just was looking at how beautiful she was, and she's so human. It was incredibly beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I got this tune in my head. It was, some people can only ever be young and beautiful. And I wrote a whole song called Young and Beautiful about all the artists who were only ever allowed to be young and beautiful. Like Marilyn Monroe, Amy Winehouse, Prince, Michael Jackson, all these people who don't have a legacy. And the song is almost finished, but I'm trying to make a decision now whether I should end the song, like continue the trend of talking about artists who are only allowed to be young and beautiful, or if I could make the turn, and I think that I will. I'm just trying to think about how to do it gracefully, into people who, by virtue of things out of their control, were only allowed to be young and beautiful, specifically evoking the imagery of like Trayvon Martin. So that started with Instagram and a melody, and it turned into a whole narrative.
Wow, I like your thinking process.
Oh,
You really
thank
put
you.
thought into it and not just write music, and it's pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of music that's released today, especially from the top labels, is just really irresponsible. It's not quality music. It doesn't follow any of the logic or guidelines of music making, and most of it is just like children's songs. They don't have any content, so I'm like,
yeah, if anything, they just want something catchy that anyone can sing. It doesn't have to have any substance. It could just be like one word, as long as you say it fun, right?
Yeah.
That's how like mumble rap came about. But I mean, it works. Some people don't really listen to the message. Some people just want to hear like a catchy, twerk song,
Yeah, I don't blame any specific category of music.
Yeah.
So like, I don't blame hip hop for this actually, because mumble rap is a product. I mean, I could be wrong, but my understanding is that what people call mumble rap is kind of like a product of Atlanta. And have you ever heard a person who's black from Atlanta speak?
I'm trying to think if I've met. Oh, well, I mean, like I would watch shows. Yeah, I watch real Love and Hip Hop.
Oh yeah, Love and Hip Hop and Real Housewives. That you would know if you heard like someone from the hood in Atlanta speak, because you can't really understand them. Like, it's just a whole different type of accent. And when those people would speak or rap on the track, people would be like, "What the hell is what the hell are they saying? A perfect example is Young Thug. And I think Young Thug gets classified into the category of mumble rap, but he fucking enunciates like crazy. But then you've got other rappers like Future, who's also from Atlanta. He's kind of like considered the king of mumble rap, I guess. And he's just on leaning from Atlanta. Like, he doesn't mumble because he thinks it's cool, you know. But then you've got all these kids who are like, yeah, that's cool, and then it's mumble rap. So I don't I don't blame hip hop for that. And I also think that pop is really guilty of vapid music as well. But it's just everywhere. It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
The only one who's like a ray of sunlight is Lady Gaga. She's a Juilliard dropout. Did you know that? She's a Juilliard dropout. She went to Juilliard for piano. She's an amazing songwriter. And then Beyonce works with some amazing songwriters as well. Obviously Rihanna.
Yeah. Is that who your main influences are? Because I can hear the Lady Gaga-esque in your singing.
Oh yeah, I think that right now my main influence is Beyonce, but I think that I'm going to forever be more compared to Lady Gaga simply because of a few technical things about my voice that are not worth mentioning. Also, we're both Aries. We're both very crazy, and I don't know, either Lady Gaga and I will be best friends, or we will never speak to each other and we'll avoid each other. I hope best friends.
Have you ever seen her in concert?
No, I don't go to concerts, which is strange.
Yeah? Is it just because you don't want to deal with the big crowds, or?
It's just money. I'm cheap.
Yeah.
It's like there's no good reason.
Yeah.
Do you go often?
I have. Like, I've been to big shows, and it just sucks because the tickets I can afford are like fairly nosebleed seats, so I'm having to watch the Jumbotron anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the vibe and like everyone just like all into it, and yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the Beyonce documentary on Netflix?
I have not.
Oh,
I'm like the only person that probably hasn't.
No, it's okay. By the way, this tea is yummy.
Yay!
I watched it like every day for a month straight when it came out, and I would just like come home from work, smoke, and then dance and sing to the entire Beyonce concert. And it was so much fun. And I think that if I could go to any concert, like a dream concert, I would go to like Beyonce redoing Beychella exactly the way it was done, because then I would be able to sing and dance to everything when in like a crowd of everybody who's singing and dancing to that thing. It would honestly just be like a workout because all of us would be dancing to it.
Man, she is such a performer. Like, I like how she had the big band, or like the marching band, and yeah, that's definitely an iconic performance. I have to watch that. I've heard the like her live album, her Homecoming. I don't know if the entire album is all live, or
yes, it's all live. Oh my god,
it sounds so good.
I know. I'm like,
her singing is just like perfection.
Don't even get me started. She's insane. The musicality is where of like vocals is where she really stands out. Obviously, her vocal training is just very strong, but also like, unlike a lot of artists, she understands music theory, and Prince even gave her daps for understanding music theory and not just being like a pretty face. And her decisions that she makes, like the way she arranges the songs, and she just puts so much effort into anything. You can't, if you don't like Beyonce, you're literally just a hater, because there's no reason to not like her. So
yeah,
but I feel very aggressive about Beyonce.
You consider yourself a Bayhive? Is that what they call it? Or a Bay?
Yeah, I think it's pronounced Beehive. I'm not really sure though. I have no idea. But I know that I am one, but I do not think of myself as one, because I think of them as like slightly militant. But obviously, I just showcased that I am indeed militant about Beyonce. So there we go. Take it how you will.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely a good artist to be inspired by. Yeah, and she's a good role model. You don't really hear negative things about her.
Yeah, because she makes everybody sign NDAs.
Yeah, smart.
I'm not kidding. You have to sign an NDA before you, like, breathe her air.
Yeah.
That's the way I want to be. It's just everybody, NDA.
I know, right? And, like, she's never commenting on drama, like Hollywood drama. She doesn't do interviews anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would never do interviews if I were that famous. Like, well, she's reached that level where she doesn't need to anymore, right?
Exactly.
She's just that godlike.
Mm-hmm. Good for her. I'm so I want to accomplish some of the things that she's accomplished. Like I kind of want to follow in her footsteps, and I definitely want to do that in a similar way she has, you know, with a husband or wife or whoever I end up with,
Mm-hmm.
and with children.
Yeah.
A family.
Mm-hmm. She was in the game, like, since she was a kid, though, because, right, her dad was a manager and really had the Jackson 5 type of,
Yeah.
what's the word I'm looking for? Upbringing, I guess.
Yes.
So is, like, music in your family, or?
No. Not really. In my dad's side of the family, yes. My aunt is a music teacher for special needs children.
Oh.
And my cousin, her daughter, I also believe is a music teacher for special needs children. They're both amazing vocalists. Ashley is my cousin, actually got into the finals for Disney, and I was so jealous of the opportunities that she had, because she had a mom who supported her singing,
Yeah.
and I just didn't have that. So no, unfortunately.
I know, right? I always get so jealous of, like, artists who have their parents' support and just cheered them on throughout the childhood. Like, express yourself, you can do this, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't get into photography or art until I was in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't know I had it in me because, it wasn't encouraged when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's cool now.
Yeah, now
it's never
it's
too
cool.
late. Yeah. So what are your plans right now? Are you working on a song? I mean, I know that you're writing always, but
Yeah.
do you have plan?
I have unfortunately or fortunately extensive plans. So the closest of those plans is that I have an EP due to my label at the end of the month, I believe, which is like, oh my god.
Oh, you're on a label?
Yeah, Born Souls label, which is
Oh,
HipHoffeeHouse.
cool. Nice.
So, that is nowhere near where it needs to be for something that's due in a month, but that one I'm trying to work with the Outsiders family on, and it's a little shaky, kind of all over the place, but so I'm trying to wrangle people, and that one is gonna be called, I think, Welcome to the Space Ranch, and I know that sounds crazy, and I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know if that's gonna make sense to people, but we'll see. And then my album that I'm working on, which was the original thing that I was gonna release next, is going to be called Space Cowgirl, and it's based on an 80s anime called Cowboy Bebop.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. And I have to say that because I always get questions like, oh, is it based on Kacey Musgraves, whatever, blah, blah, thing that she did, Space Cowboy? No, it's not. So that album is going to be a jazz funk album.
Ooh, fun.
And I'm really, really, really happy about it with the songs that I've written so far. I wish that we could hurry up and, like, get it done. But I think that for that album, I would like to have a lot more funding for it. Like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I would like $100,000 for that album to record it. So I think that I would need to find out how I can get that money, either from a label or from some sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Patreon. Probably.
Yeah, I need to think about funding because my goal is my birthday present, my 25th birthday present to myself. I want it to be a full-time artist. And for me, that means I need to be making a certain amount of money. each month, and so I need to think really hard about income streams. But that's like the beginning of my plans.
Right. Yeah, money's always the hiccup.
Yeah.
So you work full time now, and you're from San Antonio?
Yeah, I grew up in San Antonio for 10 years.
Okay, but you've been in here for the bulk of your life.
Yeah, I've been in San Antonio for the bulk of my life. I was born in Wichita Falls, Texas. Then, like, after 3 months, we moved to Panama. I lived there for 3 years. And then I lived in Arizona for 5 years, in Abilene for 1 year, and then I moved to Texas. And then I went to California for, Stanford for college. And then I was all over the place for that because I went to Spain, Tahoe, Los Angeles, and lived in each of those places for about 3 months, and then came back.
That's amazing.
It's a lot of moving.
Can you speak other languages?
Yeah, so in school I took Spanish, and so I'm like technically fluent in Spanish. It depends on who I talk to because a lot of people have crazy accents that I can't understand. But I speak fluently from learning it in Madrid. Oops. And then I also took Italian, but I'm really bad at Italian because I feel like it's just like funny Spanish, which it's not. That doesn't pay it the respect that it's owed, but I perceive it that way. And then Japanese is my favorite language. I'm still learning it, but I speak enough that I can add it to the list.
Have you been to Japan?
No, I really want to go. I really want to do a full show in Japanese one day, and I was thinking about adding a Japanese song to Space Cowgirl, so the end song of the anime, and redoing it more modern. But I hope that if I, do become an international star, I would love to have a really strong fan base in Japan and be able to speak to them and, like, really honor their culture.
Yeah. That's so cool. Would you do a song in Spanish?
Yes, I mean, I will. Yeah, there's absolutely. So many people in the world speak Spanish. Even Spanish songs are becoming more pervasive in American culture, so that's not a question to me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I will.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm excited for your plans, and sounds like you have so many ideas, and
Thank you.
I hope you get that $100,000.
I will. I'm gonna get it. I think I have the guts to go for these crazy things. Some people I notice just can't even dream of these things, or they dream of them and they don't activate, but I feel the activation. There's like a fire burning in my body, and I must get that $100,000.
You exude that quality, though, that you're meant to be a star, if you will. That sounds cheesy.
Oh my god, no.
But like when you watch interviews with these highly successful people, it's like you can't have that mentality that you can't do it. Like you can't doubt yourself.
Yeah.
But you also need the support of others too, like nothing's possible without a strong foundation and other people's money. I'm just kidding.
No, it's true. Other people's money is so important. I appreciate that you say that, because all my friends say that, like, you're gonna be a star. Like, they just don't have any doubt in their minds. And I feel the exact same way, but sometimes I wonder if I'm, like, delusional. But it's like a delusion that I support. And I'm like, that's the worst thing, is that I feel like I'm famous, is like, okay, whatever.
Well, it only feels delusional because it's a dream. It's a big dream. And people don't have the guts to make them come true. I don't know. So that's why they feel like it's so out of reach. But
anything is possible. Life is have you seen Rick and Morty?
Oh yeah, actually when you were talking about your space, I just kept thinking Rick and Morty.
Yeah, no, I love Rick and Morty. Is probably going to be one of the best TV shows of the decade, I think. It's the decade's almost over, so I get to say that, right?
Yeah.
But Rick and Morty is an incredibly intelligent show. I don't want to go on a rant about it right now, but there's this one episode where they do this game called Roy. Have you heard? It's the episode where it's season 2, episode 2. I'm crazy, Rick and Morty knowledge expert. Where they go, it's called Morty Night Run or something like that, where Rick and Morty go to Blitz and Chits, which is an arcade.
Yes, and they play that game, which is like a life, pretty much.
Yes,
Yeah.
the game of Roy, which is Roy. I feel like that is, so that's based on a theory called simulation theory.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with it?
That we live in a simulation.
Yeah, exactly. Or technically simulation theory is what is the probability that we are in a simulation, but that's not important. So I kind of like subscribe to that.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of another delusion that I just choose to live my life by, but gamifying life has really helped me understand like my place in it, because if it kind of takes a lot of my ego out of the picture, right?
Right.
Because you don't have your ego stopping you from doing those things. Like, what if I look stupid? I'm like, I don't care. I'm just a player in the game of life, and these people are all worried about themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna they don't care what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, I think about that shit all the time, actually. Sometimes late at night is gonna sound really weird, but
No,
like,
it's okay.
it just amazes me that we're so limited to only 5 senses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, of course, there's a possibility that maybe aliens have visited us, but we just don't have the capability of sensing their presence.
Yeah.
So, like, sometimes late at night, like, when I'm closing my eyes and I'm like, my reality is based on what I see, right? Or, like, what if I look really, really hard and I'll stare at fractals and I'll see, like, images, and sometimes it looks like digital. It's hard. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, this is like the simulation, just kind of like, powering off for when I sleep.
Yeah,
No?
I totally get the feeling, especially like the aliens thing. Like I think personally that there is a very, very high probability. I would say 90% probability that there are aliens in our solar system. I think that we need to rethink what we mean when we say alien. Like, it's not going to be a Martian with, like, a green head that looks like a human. But, there are waters buried under ice on moons of Jupiter. And there is a possibility that there could be carbon-based life on those moons, and we just have no way of telling. I mean, we even discovered ice, or that there used to be ice on Mars. Like, there are so many things. There could be microorganisms deep inside of Mars, close to the core. There's also a possibility for non-carbon-based life forms, or even carbon-based life forms floating in the winds of, Jupiter or something like that. Things that are particulate matter that aren't from our planet that are certainly aliens. And I think once we break this barrier, we are so slow at space exploration. It's like unbearable.
Yeah.
Once we break this barrier, and there are a lot of engineering barriers facing that, we will begin to understand what is going on in our universe a little bit better and our place in it. And I think about aliens all the time because they're so close and yet so far. And then you look at fish. I don't know if you watch like Blue Planet or something like that, but there's so much going on in our ocean that we don't even understand.
Right?
And it's like, come on, people.
I know. Oh, those species of fish that chill at the bottom of the ocean's crazy. They look like creatures from Rick and Morty.
Yes, they do. And some of them, there's this deep sea fisherman on Twitter who pulls up like random crap from the sea. Some of them literally look like aliens from a movie, like the worms where they're like and then some of them have like human teeth. That's terrifying.
Ugh. I also just thought of, kind of, not to go off track, but
it's okay.
Like, have you ever heard those there's a name for it, like people whose their twin end up being like a parasite but like stuck in their body as like a tumor?
What?
And like when they got them surgically removed, it would just look like a ball of like hair or like teeth or like really fucked up organs. Oh yeah,
I've never heard of this.
Yeah. I think it starts with a P. I don't know. Sorry, someone out there is
that's crazy.
I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm like scared. I'm gonna cheat a little bit this way. I don't know.
Yeah, as long as the thing is in your mouth. Yeah, the tiny camera over there.
Oh, I didn't realize it was so small. Okay.
I know. It's funny because one of my guests thought that the camera was on the computer. So I kept looking over there. I was like, no, it's that tiny thing.
Yeah, I would think that. But no.
Are you camera shy?
I get concerned.
Me too.
I'm just like, what's going on over there? But I try not to think about it.
Yeah.
I just gotta trust.
And your profile's not even bad.
I just like the nose. Oh my god. People always ask me, they're like, are you Puerto Rican? That's a Puerto Rican nose. I'm like, no, don't insult Puerto Rico.
Yeah. I have a little button nose.
Oh, it's so nice.
Aw, thank you. Okay, so have you performed live?
Yes, the vein of my existence is that everybody tells me that the place where they like found me or like fall in love with me is on the stage because I'm a really good performer, but it's really hard for me to get up on stage because I don't have any songs released. So that's what the EP is supposed to do. Welcome to the Space Ranch. It's like welcome you to my Space Ranch. And then I'll be able to perform more, and hopefully people will see that I'm a good performer and will want to do that.
I mean, do you have enough songs for open mics? Is that...
Yes, I do, but I bring a little bit of energy that I don't think is open mic appropriate to.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
I'm just crazy. I'm not gonna... I don't know. I get my performance style from Beyonce, so
So you dance?
I do dance on
really?
stage, yes. And I sing and dance at the same time, so I don't know that that's open mic. I feel like this is a little aggressive for an open mic.
I don't think they really care. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're putting on a free show, right? And
That's
you're
true.
there to entertain and make the bar or place money, right? So
That's true.
I don't think they care. As long as you're not like discouraging patrons from coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I don't feel performance shy at all. Like I said, I've performed at stadiums. I've performed in museums. I eat it up. It's a service that I perform. And I don't mean that in like I'm so great, you all deserve to hear from me. I mean it as like, when I perform, I'm not thinking about myself, I'm thinking about you and what you want to see.
Yeah.
And how you're feeling. And that's my service.
That's cool. Do you have like an alter ego, like an onstage? You know, because Beyonce is a Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, I don't have one of those, but I definitely feel myself merging into, like, I used to go into a different headspace when I go on stage, but now I feel like I'm in that headspace, let's say 70% of the time. Just of, like, pure confidence.
Yeah. Man, I need to get some of that.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, I would get way too nervous. Oh my gosh.
It's so interesting because it goes back to the stimulation theory, right? Taking your ego out of it.
Yeah.
Because the reason why you get nervous is because you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking, oh, am I going to do this right?
Right.
Or am I going to be embarrassed?
Yeah.
And once I like had that removal of the ego, I was like, it really doesn't matter what I do up there because these people are all concerned about themselves. And it would take a really bad fuck up for me to like, you know, for them to remember it. And even so, like, next time they see me, they'll probably forget about it, you know? And it's like, what do they need from me? They need a good time because they look busted. They're sweaty. Like, you know, you just, like, you gotta be like, let's forget all that stuff and just, like, rage.
See, that's the right state of mind to have. Like, I don't look at it that way because, I don't know. Well, so Fatal is my artist name, and I like it because it is badass, and it does have confidence in it, but I kind of look at it as my alter ego. What was I gonna say? Like, that's why I like acting. Like, I like doing skits because I'm giving you a performance. Like, I can't do live performances, but if I'm playing a character, like, on camera, something that's gonna be like edited and, you know, well produced, like, I have more confidence in that than like showing my true self. Like, I hate job interviews because it's like, I have to sell myself, but what you really want is someone that fits your mold. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I understand that. That's interesting. When you act, do you feel like you're able to express a part of yourself that you don't normally get to express?
Well, when I took acting classes, I just like that it's not me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything I do is this character,
So
so I can go crazy with it. Like I would love to do Saturday Night Live,
Mm-hmm.
or I like Vines and stuff, like really silly stuff. I do dumb stories all the time on my Instagram, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So you feel like you have permission to do things that you wouldn't normally do?
Right, because it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when people get to know me one-on-one, like people are so, like especially women, like when they see my nude modeling photos or whatever, they just be like, "Oh my God, I admire your confidence," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I'm not really confident. Like that's fatal. If anything, like I just like making art. I like making the visual, art of it, but it's not me. So I don't know.
That makes
I'm
sense.
so much more guarded in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So
That makes sense.
yeah.
From one artist to another.
Yeah. Let's see. Wow, we're doing good on time.
Oh, we are? What time is it?
Oh, 47.
Okay. Oh, I see it.
Yeah. I always feel rude when I keep looking, and it's like, I hope my guests don't think that I'm like bored or anything. I just want to make sure that we're
no
we're good
worries.
on time. Is this your first podcast?
It's my first podcast.
Wow.
I did a podcast about hunting with my friend.
Hunting.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I used to, before this, I worked at a hunting and fishing blog, Wide Open Spaces, and I did ad sales for them. And so my friend had a hunting blog, but I've never or a hunting podcast that he started, and we did the pilot episode, but I've never hunted before, so I don't know why I was on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what kind of input did you have from like the sales part of it, or?
Oh no, it was so interesting. It was just like a fun podcast. Like they were kind of talking about hunting and like the outdoors in general, and then I talked about Rick and Morty and simulation theory. So that was my contribution. It was not substantial.
Oh, I love it. I wish we were in a different headspace right now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's all right. I could talk about Rick and Morty all day. It's just such an intelligent
Me
show.
too.
So
I'm just really bad at like remembering, like if you were to describe the episodes, but I can't be like season 3, episode 4 at the 1 minute mark,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I do. It's really crazy.
So do you think that Morty is a young version of Rick? That's like that's a theory.
What?
Yeah, you never heard of that?
No.
There are some conspiracy theories about their dynamic. Like, people are like, that's young Rick.
Really?
And
Why is he so stupid then? How do they explain that one?
I know, and then they have planets with Ricks and Mortys, so. And I love that idea, by the way.
Of what?
Oh, that there are multiple versions of them. Like,
the
I'm Rick
multiverse,
C23. Yeah.
Yeah. The other Rick's just so annoying. I'm Rick D39. I don't know. I like them.
Do you think that what's the mom's name? Shit.
Beth?
Yes. Do you think that that's her or her clone?
Oh, this is the only thing worth debating in my opinion. I think that here's what I think about that. I have thought about this many times. I've rewatched that episode many, many times. I've seen all episodes of Rick and Morty at least 10 times each. I think that I'm interested to see how they'll handle this. I think that the studio will handle it in one of two ways. One, they may not ever address it again, which would be fun, or they may reference it and always keep you wondering.
Yeah.
But my hunch is, so if Beth were a clone, I think there would end up being issues, don't you? Like if Beth were a clone and she wanted to get back with Jerry, do you think? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've thought through this several times. My main thought is that I identify a lot with Beth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that my hunch is that she's not a clone and she's just being crazy, because she's the kind of person who is a little weak when it comes to her father. And I think that she probably sat down, and like kind of in the same way that you described the acting,
Yeah.
it gives you permission to be someone else. I think that she had like a shift in her mind where she's like, she has permission to love Jerry now, even though he's stupid and he doesn't get any approval from Rick. She has permission to be herself now, and she has that permission because she thinks that she's a clone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that like it's really her, but she has that self-doubt that maybe I am not her, so she kind of uses it to restart, if you will.
Exactly. And I think that as long as she is under that delusion, she will continue to annoy the crap out of Rick and continue to think that she's a clone, but I don't know how long that delusion will last.
I wonder how come they've never shown Rick's wife, the mom. So she died. Oh, no.
Rick's wife?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what happened to Beth's mom / Rick's wife. We saw some version of her. I don't know if it was a version that Rick made up in
like a flashback, right?
Yeah, in season 3, episode 1.
Yeah. And she was like the sacrifice, kind of. So there was something, and forgive me because
no, that's okay.
I probably only watched every episode once, so
no worries.
Or twice, but I think,
yeah, they went back in time to one of Rick's memories.
Yeah.
And she died along with Beth in an accident, but it wasn't a real memory. It was a completely made up backstory. So unclear whether she even looked like that, you know?
Yeah. That's actually just it made me think of one of the episodes where Rick and Morty were in that room and like watching memories.
Yeah.
And then I always like think about, man, if it wasn't for us recording things by, writing shit down or video or, audio, like all we have is memories of the past.
Yeah.
Like, did it really happen? Like, and that's why some people, like, when you really believe a lie, like, it manifests as your truth.
Yes. That's like my delusions that I am famous. Yeah, I mean, it's very true. It's so interesting, the history of recording things, because humans have been recording things for a very, very long time, like millennia. And our drive to do this is, as we know, so far, unique. But I always wonder, we consider ourselves to be the superior species, but really the only thing that has made us superior is the fact that we have opposable thumbs. And like a specific combination of abilities, of mental abilities.
Yeah.
But other creatures have those things, but they don't have all of them. So like chimps have opposable thumbs, and they use tools and stuff like that, and they do, to an extent, build things. And dolphins are extremely intelligent. You know, dolphins get high.
Yeah, off the jellyfish, right?
Off of the pufferfish, yeah.
Or pufferfish.
They get the neurotoxin out of the pufferfish. They play games with each other.
Yeah.
The teens go out at night and like romp through the seas. And it's like, come on, these are highly, highly intelligent creatures. The only difference is that they don't destroy their environment in the quest to reproduce.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting world we live in.
I know, right? Well, this definitely went directions I didn't think it would go.
Sorry.
No, that's awesome. No, I love talking to you. And,
thank you.
And I'm sorry if I'm straying away from your music, but
No, it's okay.
I think it's important with this type of platform to really show other sides of the artist, so and get to know you.
Thank you. Well, yeah. I have I guess I just. Oh, go ahead. You go.
No, I didn't have anything to say.
Oh, I was just gonna say. Well, if you want to get back to the music, I have a website. It's saintspicer.com, and I do post not stuff like this level of like Rick and Morty theories, but I do post updates there.
Cool.
The point of those updates are to give you insight into what I'm going through and like my process.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be super transparent so that if there are other artists who are in my position and are serious about being a full-time artist, they can look at those notes and my thoughts and use them as a resource and look at some of the steps that I took to being a full-time artist. So there are updates there, and they are very thoughtful in this same way. So
yeah,
if people are interested, they can find them there.
That's awesome. Have you given yourself a personal timeline, like if I don't make it by this age, like it's probably not going to happen, or you know what I mean, or within this time, because there kind of is an age limit to at least to like well, of course Beyonce, because she started so young and she just keeps going. She's already, you know, at the icon level, but
yeah,
I mean, not to put in limits on like success, but
yeah. No, I've never done that because I have a sense of timing that I think is divine, and I follow my gut very well, and that's not something that I've ever felt the need to worry about. Like, I don't feel like, well, I'm gonna be 50 and like still, you know, delusional or anything like that. But even if I am, like, by some chance, I just like don't put the work in. I think, first of all, I would say that I think anyone can become a full-time artist if they really want to. Like, it's not that hard. Like, for maybe let's say I set my goal as like $30,000 a year from being an artist. Like, I could put that money together by doing vocal lessons, by like doing a bunch of different stuff. I could do it. So I've never had that timeline of like, oh my god, I have to do it by 50 or something like that.
yeah.
But as far as like becoming, let's say that for some reason I'm still like working a job and trying to do this on the side when I'm 50, I would never ever think to myself like, I can't do it, I'm too old, because I mean, Oprah Winfrey started like in her 30s.
Yeah.
You know, I am very youthful, but also I don't believe that age is an issue, because humans are all sorts of ages.
Right.
I don't know, I never had that feeling.
Yeah, that's good though. I guess like the way that the industry works, you know, who was I watching a thing on? But even they feel like that they're too old. And I guess that's why, you know, they try to preserve their youthful beauty too, is so that they can keep up with, because there's always going to be a new wave, right?
Yeah, that's so, I'm sorry, that's really trashy and kind of idiotic, because you have people like Nina Simone, who's dead now, and her music is still fresh and young.
Yeah.
And she herself is young. She's forever young.
Yeah.
And it really irks me that there's this idea that youth and sexuality and virality is being sold instead of the music.
Right.
Because if you're selling the music, which is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
doesn't matter how old you are, because it doesn't, your sales aren't predicated on how you look, it's predicated on your music. And if you continue to grow with your music, then your fans will be with you forever, because that's what's happening to Beyonce. She released Lemonade and it was nothing like she had done before, but all of her fans are with her. They're mothers now, they are in relationships, you know what I mean?
Right.
And if you continue to grow through those stages of life, you should be allowed that, because there will always be an audience for that and people who understand, and the Academy who offers rewards will understand as well.
Yeah.
So it's just irksome. It's really reflective of our consumption culture.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you're definitely right, and like your longevity is based on like if you have that loyal following, just like Beyonce does. But I mean, it just sucks because pop music now, like, or just the imagery of it is just so much different than like back in the day, because social media like took over.
Yes.
And that's what kind of defines like someone's fame, right? Like, I don't know. Like even TV and radio, like no one really watches it, and it's how you market yourself. And I mean, it sounds like you already have, you know, your sales and all of that on lock and what you can do. So
I mean, people want to consume things that are they give you like a high very quickly. And there's this, have you ever heard of a rapper called Brother Ali?
yes.
Yeah, he gives this talk, and it's available on like the internet to see if you want to watch it, but he talks about music as like a full meal, and there is, you can think of art in general as the same thing. There's some music that's like the meat and potatoes or the vegetables, and this is music that is good for you. It's good for the soul. And then there's music that's candy, and you don't want to, in the context of what he was talking about, which is hip hop, the candy music is like the you know, like the music with no substance, because like just like candy, there's no substance there. It's not necessarily pushing the art forward in any way,
right,
or challenging anything, but it gives you a high. That's the candy. And there's so much candy out there now. It's like Halloween every day, and the kids are getting sick. And so the real challenge as an artist is to cook a meal that is so delicious that people don't want the candy, because they realize that they're getting a nutrition that they were missing, but it tastes delicious as well. So that's what I'm trying to do, and it's like, oh my god, I'm in the kitchen. Just kidding.
Good for you. Yeah, I love that analogy.
Yeah, it's a really thoughtful analogy about music, and Brother Ali gave.
Yeah. Huh. Cool. I think I saw him. No, I may have went home when he was about to go on, because he was at Stubbs, I believe.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, but Bamboo, he's a Filipino rapper from California. He opened for him.
Oh, wow.
So that's who I mainly went to see. And then I think it was on a weekday. I'm like, I gotta work tomorrow. So I left when Brother Ali came on. But I heard it was a good show.
That's amazing.
Is he from the West Coast?
I am not sure where he's from.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, this was great.
Yay.
Thank you for letting me pick your brain and, you know, sharing your background and your plans. I'm so excited for you. You definitely have all the qualities to make it, and so
thank you. There's a saying in Russian, when you say that you're excited for something, Russian people always say, we still have to make it that far. So like, it's kind of like, well, if we don't die before then, you know, that's kind of thing. So I feel like if I don't die before I get famous, I'm gonna get famous. So.
Well, let's knock on wood that you don't die. So what can we expect next? So you're working on the song that you have a deadline for in a month.
It's a whole EP, gosh. It's called Welcome to the Space Ranch. And
yes,
it's gonna, I'm not sure how it's gonna go over, but we will see. And then Space Cowgirl will really be my introduction to the world. That will be my artistic triumph. So really hoping for that to be interesting. I also have this idea for it that I want to release it as a video game.
Ooh.
But that obviously, that's where the $100,000 comes in, because it's like, I want the music to be great, I want there to be awesome features, but the video game portion of it, I'm not sure how that will manifest, and it needs some shmonies.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I also saw your music video for On Repeat.
Yes.
That was fun.
Oh yes, it was. Some people were disappointed by it.
That it wasn't you?
Yeah. See that? Yeah. The vision that I have for my art needs work, because people often tell me that the things that I like most are the things that they like the least. And so,
really,
and vice versa. Yeah, it's like about myself, about my music, about blah blah blah. So I'm just like, okay, I need to have some collaborators here.
Yeah, yeah. But I like the balloons.
Yeah,
that was fun. Who directed it?
I directed it. Came up with the concept.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry.
No worries.
Nice. Well, I hope to see more visuals.
Yeah, there will be. I need to get in front of the camera.
Would you dance?
Yeah, I will. So for Space Cowgirl, I at least in some of the music videos, be on my lyra, doing like circus stuff. And then for my shows, I also want to be in the lyra on my live shows.
Ooh.
So I have a lot of hopes and dreams for Space Cowgirl. I also think that performing in a lyra will be really unique and like interesting for people to see. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that manifests. I'm really just like gunning for Space Cowgirl. I need it.
I think the only artist I've seen perform in a lyra was Pink.
Yeah.
Right?
Pink.
She was like way up high. Was it a Super Bowl? No.
She does a bunch of stuff like in rigs, and she's like the most circus performer.
Yeah.
People love her shows.
Yeah. I don't even know that she still kept making music.
Yeah,
she still make music?
She does. She just had an album out, I think.
Oh wow. I'm so out of touch.
No worries.
Like when I listen to music, it's just like you know, I don't listen to like what's trending.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still stuck in the 90s, so.
Oh yeah, I understand. Everybody has their favorites.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we can find you on. I saw you on Spotify.
Yeah, I'm on all music platforms,
Apple.
and all social medias. Saint said so.
Awesome. Love it.
Okie doke.
Well, maybe next time you come on the show, you'll be big and famous, and just don't forget me.
I won't forget. I love that stuff.
That's awesome. Well, this is my tradition. I usually like to clink clink at the end of each show.
Okay.
So it's really cheesy. I don't know why I do that.
Same.
But until next time, clink clink.
You can reach us at fatalpodcastatx@gmail.com or Instagram at fatalappeal.